Welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the teachings of Swami Vidya Prakashananda Giri to unpack the Bhagavad Gita's really practical guide to finding inner peace. So let's just start with a question that gets right to the heart of being human. One that even Arjuna asked Lord Krishna. You know how it is, you know exactly what you should do, the right thing, but it feels like something else just takes over and makes you do the opposite. Well, the Gita has a really fascinating take on why that happens, and more importantly, what we can do about it. So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the two main paths the Gita lays out. Then we'll see why selfless action is the absolutely essential starting point. After that, we'll tackle those inner roadblocks that hold us back. We'll define the ultimate goal, which is knowledge, and finally, we'll see what it actually looks like for an enlightened person to live and act in the world. Okay, so the Gita gives us two main spiritual paths to walk. Karma Yoga, which is the path of action, and Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. But, and this is key, it's not like you can just pick whichever one you want. They're connected in a very specific way. This slide really lays it out perfectly. Think of Karma Yoga, selfless action, as the elementary course you have to pass. It's the foundation for everything else. Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, that's the graduate course. That's the goal. The Swami is super clear about this. You can't just jump to the graduate level. You have to do the foundational work first. Right, so that makes you wonder, why? Why is action the mandatory first step? Well, it's because the goal here, knowledge, isn't about memorizing books. It's about a direct experience of truth. And to have that experience, your mind needs to be in the right state. And here's the whole process step by step. You start with Karma Yoga, selfless action. That action leads directly to what's called Chitta Shuddhi, which basically means purity of mind. It's only from that place of mental purity that you can actually attain true knowledge, or Jnana Yoga. And that knowledge is what finally leads to liberation, or moksha. See? It's a clear progression. One step builds on the next. So let's talk about this idea of Chitta Shuddhi, because it's absolutely crucial. The Swami gives this beautiful analogy. Think of your mind as a mirror. Now, if that mirror is caked in layers of dust, dust from selfishness, anger, greed, you can't see your reflection, right? Selfless action, Karma Yoga, is the process of wiping that mirror clean. Without a clean mirror, you can't see your true self. It's as simple as that. This brings us right back to that first question we asked. What is all that dust on the mirror? What are these forces inside us that hold us back? The Gita is very specific about identifying these inner obstacles. First up, we've got the three gunas. These are like the three fundamental qualities of nature that color all our thoughts and actions. There's tamas, which is that heavy, lazy, I don't want to do anything feeling. Then there's rajas, which is all that restless, passionate, gotta have it energy. And finally, there's sattva, which is that state of harmony, clarity, and peace. The whole journey is about moving away from tamas and rajas, cultivating sattva, and then, believe it or not, going beyond even that. And if you go even deeper than the gunas, you find what the Gita calls vasanas. Man, these are the really deep-rooted habits and tendencies we've built up over countless lifetimes. They're like these powerful subconscious currents that can just drag us into doing things we know are wrong. This is the very force Arjuna was asking about. But here's the amazing thing. The Gita's message is one of incredible hope. It says that no one, absolutely no one, is forever defined by their past or their negative tendencies. And there's no better example of this than the story of a man named Ratnakara, who was a truly cruel and violent robber. So when some wise sages came across Ratnakara, they didn't judge or condemn him. Instead, they gave him a path forward, and it was based on this incredibly profound idea. They could see the pure potential within him, totally separate from all the terrible things he had done. And get this, Ratnakara actually listened. He took their advice and, through sheer dedication and practice, he completely purified his mind. He overcame all those violent vasanas. His transformation was so absolute that this former highway robber became the revered sage Valmiki, the great poet who wrote the epic Ramayana. I mean, what a testament to the power of inner change. So, once the mind is cleaned up through selfless action, once those inner obstacles are dealt with, where do we end up? Well, now we're finally ready for the graduate course, Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. I love this analogy. It's just so perfect. The kind of knowledge the Gita is talking about isn't just learning facts from a book. It's a total shift in consciousness, a change as radical as waking up from a really intense dream. You know how when you wake up, all the problems and fears from the dream just disappear. They weren't real. In the same way, waking up to your true self makes all worldly suffering just fall away. And this right here is the final verdict. That ultimate state of freedom called kaivalyam or moksha, it's only achieved through this direct, personal, experiential knowledge of who you really are. Action gets the soil ready, but knowledge is the seed that finally blossoms into freedom. Okay, so a question that always comes up here is, so, once someone gets enlightened, do they just go sit in a cave and stop doing things? It's a fair question, but according to the Gita, the answer is a big, resounding no. An enlightened person definitely keeps acting, but the reason they act is completely transformed. Since they've realized their true nature, there's literally nothing left for them to gain personally. So their actions aren't about me, me, me anymore. They just flow naturally for the good of everyone, setting a powerful example for the rest of us. And really, there's no better illustration of this than Lord Krishna himself. He says this to Arjuna. I mean, think about it. As God, he has nothing to gain, nothing to achieve, and yet he's constantly in action, driving a chariot, washing the feet of sages, all to show humanity the way. It's the absolute peak of Karma Yuga. And that brings this whole ancient teaching right back into our lives, right now. Remember that first question? Why do we do things we know we shouldn't? The Gita's incredible answer is that by acting selflessly, we can literally purify the mind where those urges come from. It's not about running away from your life or your job. It's about transforming them. Every time you do your work or fulfill responsibility without being attached to the reward, you're not just doing a good deed. You're actually cleaning that inner mirror. You're weakening those old, destructive habits, and you're turning your everyday life into the very path that sets you free.